Day 12 of World War II unfolds as a turning point not because of a single dramatic battle, but because of a chain of decisions, movements, and consequences that quietly began shaping the future of the world. By this stage of the war, the illusion of a short conflict had completely vanished. What was once expected to be a swift campaign was turning into a global struggle that would redefine power, borders, and human history forever. On this day, military commanders across Europe and Asia faced a harsh reality. Supply lines were stretched thin, morale was being tested, and the cost of every decision was becoming painfully clear. Armies that had advanced rapidly were now forced to pause, reassess, and prepare for resistance that was far stronger than anticipated. The early confidence of invasion began to collide with the reality of occupation and defense. In Europe, civilians woke up to another day under the shadow of uncertainty. Cities prepared for air raids, families learned to live with rationing, and fear became a daily companion. Governments issued statements filled with confidence, but behind closed doors, leaders knew the stakes were rising. Each day that passed without a decisive victory meant deeper involvement, greater losses, and fewer chances to turn back. Day 12 also marked a psychological shift. Soldiers on the front lines began to realize that this war was not just about territory or national pride. It was about survival. Letters sent home carried a different tone now, less excitement, more exhaustion. The noise of artillery, the constant movement, and the sight of destruction were changing men in ways that could never be undone. In the Pacific, tensions continued to grow. Strategic planning intensified as military leaders understood that control of the seas would determine the outcome of the war. Every island, every port, every naval route suddenly carried enormous value. Decisions made on this day would later influence massive confrontations that reshaped global naval warfare. Politically, alliances were being tested. Trust between nations was fragile, and every move was carefully watched. A single miscalculation could pull new countries into the conflict, expanding the war beyond anyone's control. Behind diplomatic smiles were fears of betrayal, invasion, and collapse. Economically, Day 12 revealed the true cost of war. Factories shifted entirely to military production. Civilian needs were pushed aside to fuel the war machine. Entire populations were being mobilized, not just soldiers. Workers, engineers, and even children became part of a system designed for one purpose only: victory at any cost. This day also exposed the moral challenges of warfare. Decisions were made that affected millions of innocent lives. Bombing strategies, occupation policies, and emergency laws began to blur the line between military necessity and human suffering. What seemed justified in the moment would later be questioned by history. For resistance movements, Day 12 was a spark. In occupied territories, whispers turned into plans. Small acts of defiance began to grow. Ordinary people, once powerless, started to believe that even the smallest action could matter. These early moments of resistance would eventually grow into powerful forces that changed the course of the war. The world outside the battlefields was watching closely. Neutral nations measured every development, knowing that remaining uninvolved might soon become impossible. Public opinion around the globe began to shift, as people realized this conflict would not stay confined to distant lands. Day 12 did not end with victory or defeat. It ended with realization. The realization that the world had crossed a point of no return, that technology, ideology, and ambition had collided in a way never seen before, that the consequences of this war would last far beyond the battlefield. Looking back, historians recognize Day 12 as one of the moments when World War II stopped being a series of battles and became a force that reshaped the modern world. Borders would change, empires would fall, new powers would rise, and the lives lost, the sacrifices made, and the lessons learned would echo through generations. This was not just another day of war. It was a day that quietly helped change the world forever.